The following content is brought to you by Mind Initiative Incorporated. The opinions expressed in the following conversation are of the hosts and do not in any way represent the opinions of Mind Initiative as a whole. Some themes in this series may be distressing or triggering for some listeners, and so viewer discretion is advised. If any of the content does trigger uncomfortable feelings or cause distress, we encourage you to reach out to us via our Facebook page or seek further support from beyondblue.org or contact Lifeline on 13 14 11 for 24/7 over-the-phone support. We would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we all stand, and we extend our respect to the elders, both past and present.
Hi everyone, my name's Jason and this is my friend Pajan, and we have a show called Does It Mess With Your Mind, where we talk about mental health issues and the stigma behind mental health, and we give book reviews and we just talk about lifestyle and everything else that may impact your mental health. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Does It Mess With Your Mind? I'm your co-host, Jason, and here's my other co-host, Pajan. Say hello, Pajan.
Hello there. How are you?
Tonight, I'm pretty good. How are you?
Fantastic. So what are we going to talk about tonight?
We're going to talk about relationships, and relationships is massive because it's not just I'm talking about boys and girls and girlfriends and boyfriends and all of that kind of stuff. I'm talking about friends. I'm talking about relationships with co-workers, relationships with the local coffee shop guy when you go and buy your coffee. You know, all of that kind of stuff has an impact on your mental health. Going and buying your coffee in the morning and that person being really nice and jovial and setting you off in the right mode can be the difference in the start of your day and the difference in the whole day for you. So that's what I want to talk about, is how those relationships and managing those relationships leads to good mental health. What do you think?
Ooh, that's an exciting topic, and it is a massive topic indeed. And yeah, we'll definitely need more than an episode to cover the whole thing. So where do you want to get started, on which aspect?
Well, I'll start with some jargon directly from the thing they call the internet. It's a big thing these days. So relationships are powerful drivers for mental health. They can both help us regulate emotion and the triggers for emotions, and they are powerful drivers in our feelings for success in our lives. Having good relationships with people have proven links to better mental health, including lowering rates of anxiety, depression, giving you higher self-esteem, higher empathy, and having more trusting and cooperative relationships. Strong, healthy relationships can also help strengthen your immune system, help you recover from disease, and may even lengthen your life. So the definition of relationships is the way in which two or more people or groups regard or behave with each other. My first question for you tonight, Pajan, is what does regard or behave towards each other mean to you?
Ooh, regard, behave to each other. Before I dive deep into that question, I just want to define the word relationship in my own terms. And to do that, I need to go back into our very nature, and which is we are social animals. We are social. We're born to be social, and if we do not have company, we feel lonely, and that is what brings about the onset of negative mental health. Having said that, for me, a relationship it's a complex thing, man. It's a complex thing. I can just say relationships is the bond between two people, but what does that bond entail? What does that bond mean? How is that bond created? Just to answer this question, it just pops up 100 different questions. It's like a hydra. You chop one head down and then two heads come out of it. So I'm not sure if I can actually answer your question, the original question you asked, and we are definitely going to go on a big tangent, but yeah, I think we can base our entire discussion on that one question for tonight, and let's see where things go. So let's.
I have more questions. Don't worry.
Yeah,
But yeah, this
definitely.
one is just like when you have a relationship with someone, say a friend or anything like that. How do you know that you have a relationship with someone? Like versus they're just a connection versus someone that you'll never even think about again.
Here's the thing, it just happens. It's a natural vibe. You just vibe, you just connect, and this electric energy that just comes like a flash and just stays in there buzzing around you. When you meet someone that you absolutely vibe with, what happens? The whole world just brightens up, man. The whole world just brightens up, and it's as if like you're talking to another version of yourself. It's as if you're talking to yourself. Your interests and their interests match, your thoughts and their thoughts match, and that is what creates a relationship. It's that electric mysterious connection between two people. I would even say it is telepathy, for lack of a better word. So if you have that kind of connection with another person, I would say you have a really good relationship with them. But having said that, there are also instances where we have to fake our way to relationships for various reasons. I'm just curious, what do you think about those kind of relationships?
Well, I was going to say like relationships for me are something that continuously reoccur within a time period that strengthens or increases like our comfort level with each other or makes me a better person. So for instance, for that coffee shop kind of one, going and buying a coffee from the coffee shop every morning and having that kind of like really nice interaction, that makes me a better person for the rest of the day. Like sometimes the coffee could be crap, but that service that I've gotten can give me a positive kind of outlook, and I can overlook that kind of crap coffee. Whereas if in that other kind of thing, if someone was to give me crap coffee and crap service, that would probably actually set me off with a negative kind of tone for the day. And there are other relationships in my life, like work, which I'm put under pressure and stress to produce an output. And I might be working with someone that is quite hard to deal with, but that relationship brings out the best in me to find the best solution for them. So there's that kind of connotation that comes along. And I think when you're looking at relationships can't be just good or bad, but you have to look at whether the relationship leads to a good outcome for you or a bad outcome. And I guess that's where we're going to touch on probably further on as we chat about relationships later on, is how to identify when a relationship actually might be bad for you and leading to you not having a good mental outcome from being in that relationship. What do you think? Next question. I got another question.
Nah, I need to really think about that, because when you said relationship can like lead to how do you identify whether a relationship is like good for you or bad for you? And that's like a really good question. And I don't think many of us consider this question at all, because we just stay in any kind of relationship, be it friendship, be it familial relationship, be it a romantic relationship, be it any kind of relationship. We stay in a relationship just because we don't know what else to do. We never, even if we know that this relationship is not good for us, it's toxic for us, we still don't look for a way out of that relationship just because of hope that we can make it work together. And it simply doesn't make sense to me to continue a relationship that does not work for both of us. Yes, there is something now called compromise, but what does compromise actually mean? Does compromise come from a true place of genuine honesty, or does it come for just for the sake of saving the relationship? And because relationships are like always a long-term thing, it just keeps on building over the years. The first time you go to a coffee shop, you just say hi to the barista or whoever is at the front, and that's the end of your conversation. But as you go there regularly, that's when the relationship starts to keep building, and that's where the relationship starts to get better with that person. So to think of relationships in like a short way, as like I have to make it work somehow via compromise, but via compromising something, I believe that it just leaves that seed of doubt that evolves and grows into something much more toxic later down the line. So I always believe that relationships have to be based because you truly and genuinely want to be in that relationship. If you do not want to be in it, honestly, just talk about it. Just share what you actually want out of it. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So what is your opinion on that, Jason? Do you think that we should always compromise and try to save our relationship, especially because we have been in that relationship for a long time? Or should we like just end it?
I think that's a very personal question for our watchers. I'd
For us,
probably ask them, leave a comment in our YouTube comments. Tell us a little bit about a relationship that you've had to compromise to keep, or maybe you didn't want to compromise and you lost that relationship. So, but what you're touching on now kind of goes to our last video of the 4 agreements. And one of the 4 agreements was don't take things personally. How do you feel you can manage a relationship without taking things personally?
It's really hard, isn't it? Especially when you are close with that person, especially when it's a friend. Yeah, for people who we are used to, we know their nature, we know what they are like, we know their idiosyncrasies. But especially with new people, we tend to put on a mask, for a lack of better word. We just tend to show our formal self just to put on the best impression. And earlier, before we started this, we had a small chat around like how COVID has affected people and their ability to like socialize with people. So yeah, what do you think, Zayshan? COVID, we were locked down for like the majority of the past 2 years, maybe almost 3 years. So what do you think? How has that affected our ability to socialize?
Yeah, I was thinking simply from a workplace point of view, like having a manager or a supervisor going back into the workplace and then having to re-engage in that relationship and critical feedback. So your manager or supervisor saying, hey, I'd like you to work harder on this particular thing, or what you did here was missing this piece and that piece or whatever. And the way how you re-engage with that kind of feedback, and do you take it personally, or are you able to actually push that aside and be critical of what it is that you've done and what it is that manager is actually looking for? So, I mean, have you done your best? Well, if you have you done your best? If you have done your best, do you need to worry about someone being critical of your work? Because now that you've got that feedback, you can do it a little bit better. Or there's that situation there that if you do take it personally, that it can actually ruin the relationship, or you could put a compromise on that relationship that you feel that feedback is unfair. but you don't actually let your supervisor know. You just grin and bear it and do the actual work. But that could upset your whole mental health balance and leaving you feel like you're not valued at work. So there's a lot of
Ah,
considerations there, but you can kind of see what I'm saying there. Like
yeah, yeah.
managing relationships, it's not just around the house, but when
Mm.
you've got a new boss, um, managing that relationship or coming back into the workplace and working with your colleagues again, re-establishing those connections. COVID has done a massive reconfiguration of how we interact with people, and probably the workplace is one of the biggest ones. Like one of the things that I feel about at the moment is um, lots of people are getting COVID in my workplace, and if I was to get it, how do I feel about actually, do I want to take that test? Do I want to give up my 7 days worth of work? And how will all of that stuff get managed? Or do I just grin and bear it and not tell anyone and still go to work? Um, there's there's truth and honesty and loyalty and all of those kind of factors that come into it, that you've got to manage in that relationship.
Yeah, there is. Just pinging back to the start of this section, when you said like you were coming from a workplace context, I just wanted to like touch base on that and say, from my own personal point of view, the way I see feedback and criticism is that I know is that just the way I see the world is not the way other people see the world. So when I hear someone with feedback on what I do, I I'm, I'm happy. I get happy because they've helped me see the world through a completely different window. I mean, why would I even take that feedback personally? Because what they said, I could not see it before they said it. But after they said it, it's as if like they opened a whole new window and a whole new perspective for me. And for me, there's a chance for growth, to learn more, to become better, and just to expand my own perception. So I don't see a point in like taking any of the feedback that I receive from anyone at work, at home, at any or anywhere else. I don't see a reason to be taking any of that feedback personally. I just see it as like a good thing because I'm learning more. I'm expanding my horizons. And getting back to the COVID to the COVID dilemma, where like a coworker has tested positive for COVID. Now, what do I do? Do I leave my job and 7 days worth of work and pay to get tested? Or should I like just hide and then just pretend that nothing's happened and just continue going to work? And frankly, there are a lot of variables at play because no one knows what situation that an individual is going through. We do not know what the implications of not working for 7 days, not getting paid is going to be. However, we also do not know the fact that maybe that person really is COVID positive, and it could affect a lot more, many more lives. So there are a lot of variables at play in this scenario, which is why I am not certain of the answer. I think we should let our viewers give their opinion on this matter. What do you guys think? You've got COVID, one of your coworkers has got COVID, and you've got to pay your bills next week. You do not have enough money on the bank account. What do you do? Do you like quit, get tested and stop working and then miss out on the paycheck just to pay your bills and survive? Or do you just hide and go to work and not get tested and potentially infect the whole company?
It's a good question, isn't it? And it's a hard one, but
Yeah.
Everyone's going through it. Yeah.
I mean, the answer is very obvious. You gotta get tested, but each situation is very individual, and I just want to know what everybody else thinks of what the right solution in this scenario is.
Yeah. So, next question for you. Do relationships require maintenance? What do you reckon? True or false? They require maintenance?
Maintenance. You'll have to define that word for me in this context. Yes.
So as you have a relationship with like a parent or a co-worker or a friend or something like that, you need to actually look at that relationship and go, okay, I value this relationship. This relationship requires me to put in X amount of effort, or my friend's birthday is coming up. I really should buy him a present, that kind of thing. Like, do you look at your relationships in your life and evaluate them and go, this relationship has value to me, so I'm going to put in extra effort to make sure that person knows that I value them?
Obviously, I do that, man. Yeah, I do it. Yeah, definitely, I do it. It sounds very transactional in a sense that I value this person. This person adds value to my life, which is why I'm going to value him or her. And it really sounds transactional, but I don't think of it as transactional. I see it as being considerate and also not taking the other person for granted. Because just because I have a good relationship with the other person, it doesn't mean that I can stop talking with them or just take them for granted. In fact, that is the worst way to treat someone you have a good relationship, to take them for granted, and it just makes the other person feel devalued. So yeah, to answer your question, do I evaluate my relationships and then maintain them? Yes, I do, because that is what every relationship deserves. It deserves constant evaluation, constant back and forth, constant looking after each other, and never taking one another for granted, because that is the most inhuman way to treat someone, to take people for granted, and I do not wish that on anybody. Yeah.
I think the evaluation of relationships is probably what a lot of people do, and it leads to a lot of social anxiety because they're thinking about all of these other people, but they're not actually putting action towards it. They're thinking about what that person is thinking about them, rather than just going, okay, I value this relationship, I'm just going to make time for this person, and whatever happens, it's just going to be whatever happens. When you start, as you said, making it transactional, like, I'm going to spend time with this person, I expect this kind of outcome, or we'll do this kind of thing, and then that doesn't eventuate, suddenly you don't want to spend time with that person anymore. And that's because you've put a judgment on what that relationship was meant to be, rather than just valuing what the relationship is at that point in time.
Exactly. That is exactly what I mean by the word transactional, because you're maintaining that relationship not because you're expecting something from that relationship. The moment you expect something from that relationship, the moment you want something, you desire something from them, that just because you do something for them, you expect something from them, that becomes a transactional relationship. And trust me when I say this, every transactional relationship is doomed to fail. You don't do something for someone just because you can get something out of them. No, you do it for them because you genuinely want to do it. If you don't want to do it, don't do it, man. It's a waste of your time, energy, effort, and it's a lot of thinking. Will I get what I want from this person? Will I get it or not? It's a lot of wasted energy, effort, and time on that single thought. Will I get what I want from this person? If you come from that place of neediness, if you come from that place of hope or expectation, that just because you do something for that person, they're going to reciprocate. It's like there's a quote, and which is very cliche. just because you don't eat the tiger, you can't expect the tiger to not eat you.
I like that quote.
Exactly. So
Yep.
just because you do something nice for someone, you can't expect them to reciprocate. It is their choice to reciprocate or not, and it is your choice to do it or not. If you want to do it without any hope for reciprocation, and just do it. Just do it. No hope, no expectations, no neediness. Just do it because you want to do it, not because you are expecting something in return.
Yeah. And I should actually say that what you're saying there is very important for self-relationship as well, because you do have to maintain a relationship with yourself. You do have conversations in your own head. So if you make your relationship with yourself like transactional, where if you do something good, you go out and buy something for yourself. If you do something bad, you punish yourself in that kind of way, well, you're going to lead to a not very good mental hygiene picture of yourself. You're going to have self-confidence issues and everything else. So probably pro tip there, make sure you're maintaining your own self-worth and not making it transactional. And if you want to learn more about that kind of stuff, go and see our episode about what was it called?
The subtle
What's that
art.
book? Yeah, the
The
subtle
subtle
art.
art of not giving up. Dude.
Yeah,
By
that one.
Mark Manson. Yeah, we will link the video on the description for that episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we could like go on and make an entire episode about how our self-talk and how self-talk affects you and your mental health. So I think that we should like end this episode here, and then we will definitely be back for the next episode. Over to you, Jason.
Yeah. One more question though, and then we'll end it. So smell is the only sense that goes straight up to your brain, and you'll notice that when you have a certain smell, it can trigger a memory. So do you wear any certain kind of perfumes or body odors or anything like that? Is there something special that you cook that people would think and associate with you?
Man, the moment you said smell, I just started to imagine all the smells that remind me of something special in my own life. And yeah, you're right. Smells really are powerful, and just even the thought of that smell triggers a powerful memory. And right now I'm like really emotional, and that's because I triggered a lot of me. And yeah, I'll just keep my answer very brief and just say yes, I do. I do that. There's certain smell, a certain food that I usually cook, or just certain body fragrance that I use to make people associate that with me, because that smell also forms a part of who I am, a part of my personality. Yeah, so let's end it there.
All right. Thank you everyone for watching. I want to give a big thanks to our producer, Will, for editing our videos and putting them up on YouTube and everything else. He spends a lot of time on this kind of stuff. So thank you very much. And our operations officer, Christina, thank you very much for watching our stuff and giving us feedback and letting us know how we're going. If you want to donate to us, please go to the Mind Initiative website, mindinitiative.org, hit that donate button, give us some funds, and we will happily keep producing videos. If you feel triggered by anything that you've seen tonight, please reach out and get help. If you want to chat to us about a certain topic or anything like that, jump on our Facebook page, Instagram, please comment on our stuff. Let us know how we're going. More feedback, the better. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Bajan. Thank you. It was very interesting tonight. Very good, man.
Thank you very much. Wonderful talk. I'll see you next week.
I look forward to continuing this relationship. See you, everyone.
you.